Hey there, boys and girls of the YouTube world. Today, the Duff Dog and I are going to see if we can't get this 1968 GMC back on the road for the first time in who knows how many years. So what do you know about this thing? The previous owner took it all apart because that's the first thing you do when you go and fix something up or restore it. You tear it apart into a million pieces. I can't tell you how many cars I bought where people are like, I'm going to fix that thing up. So the first thing you do is you take all the trim off, the chrome out, the bumpers out, the grill out, the headlight trim out, the park lights out, because that's what you do. And then you start sanding on it because you have no idea how to do body work, but guess what? You're gonna learn right now. And then you take all the parts that you removed and you just huck them in the bed and inside of the cab. We got bumpers, we got doors, we got valances, we got leaf springs. Oh yeah, because it's a GMC, so it should have leaf springs in the rear, but you could also get them with coil springs, which a Chevy had, but you could get a Chevy with leaf springs. But anyway, more on that later. Check out those sweet mud flaps. South Dakota, we're on meth.
I'm on meth.
I'm on meth.
I'm on meth.
They did make the tailgate into a bench, unfortunately. It looks like we need some bedwood. Taillight lenses, hopefully they're inside. They gave us an extra door or two, and it's allegedly got a fresh engine or a low mile engine. It's got a small block in it. So anyway, let's get this thing in the shop. Let's see what we got to do to get it all pieced back together and get her running and driving for the first time. And I don't know, we don't got a license plate to go off of. And we're not filthy liars that say that this vehicle was running 40 years ago when it's got 2004 license plates, because I could do math. That was 21 years ago. Ooh, 2-barrel cast iron manifold. That'll make a good wheel chock. Oh, there's some disc brake stuff over there. This thing's got drums. And some weeds. Oh, that's the beauty of these GMs. Even when somebody takes the door handles off, because they're going to sand it all down and restore it, you can still get it open with your thumb. Hey, there's the trim. Looks like it was a V6, but it's got a small block Chevy in it now.
Small block Chevy.
Small block Chevy. Goddamn small block Chevy.
Praise the Lord, they did not get the sunroof put in there. But pretty much everything we need. Oh, it's empty. We got the Hardware Hank rust guard, gloss black. Did you know that there's a marble in here? Cut it. Ooh, we got 3-point seat belts. And a 72, 73 LT3 LTMX Yamaha operator's manual. All right, let's get this thing in the shop. Or maybe we clean it out first. Yeah, let's roll it by the dumpster and go ahead and get some scrap iron out and some raccoon house out. And then we'll see what we got.
I'm gonna do a little cleaning out of this pickup before we bring it inside. All the sheet metal, some of the stuff we need, some of the stuff we don't need. We're gonna keep this bumper because I don't think we have another one around. Yeah, let's get it cleaned out. There's a little bit of a whammy in this front bumper, but otherwise, looks pretty good. License plate's pretty mangled up. This license plate says 05, so if that's true to this pickup, it'll be 20 years. Well then, that's not what we want to see. Let's get that intake under that rear tire so we can chock it up. There we go. Wheel chock engaged. This is the door that was on it. He said it was pretty rusty and it's very full of mud, it looks like. Definitely very rusty. Had multiple sets of mirrors, the sport mirrors that we like, and the big tow mirrors look like it was there at one point in time. It's a custom. You can tell by the way it is.
This is an aspen. You can tell that it's an aspen tree because of the way it is.
This door's still got the door panel, the door crank, the door handle, and there is a window in it. So that's a big win because it'll match the rest of the pickup now because it's got all the right parts. Also, I'm seeing, and I'll probably get a close-up later, the rest of this pickup's got kind of a green tinge to it, and I've seen some green underneath all this blue paint, so I don't think it's originally blue. this is a different door. We'll have to keep digging and find out. Me and Mojo went and loaded this up one day during the summertime, and I'll cut back to the footage of us doing that. The previous owner did tell us that the bed was not attached. He wasn't lying. And I remember from doing the bed on Wally that is the mount for the bed right there. A bit off of where it's supposed to be, but let's get the rest of it emptied out and cleaned out, get in the shop. Little Kenny and the Dewtones, even with the case. It was hard to see the cover before, but now look. I wonder if they didn't have an air compressor or something mounted to this springboard. Maybe it's for jumping. Maybe I'll have to jump on it later. All right, here's to see if it'll make it, or if I trip over something. Here's some of the sandpaper they were working on that bodywork with. Almost finished. Ooh. Yeah! Some Randy Savage action. Woo! Ooh! There's actually a lot more of this bed than I thought was left, which is kind of nice. Up here, still seems to be pretty intact. I think that big piece of plywood helped preserve at least some of that section of the bed. Now that we got the bed all cleaned out, let's move to the inside. All right, let's take a look what's behind the orange door. As you can already tell, some animal has had their way with the seat cushion. Here's all the stuff that was left in here. A lot of trim, the grill, at least the seat. We even got a sun tack. And we're slamming gears in the old 4-speed and jamming the Kenny G with our Craig equalizer. Let's go ahead and start getting this cleaned out. Looks like we got a very presentable GMC grill, some side molding trim, and these are some of the eyebrows that go over the headlights. Some more side molding trim, and the one that goes over one of the wheels. So this bucket's got a lot of the extra small pieces of trim, the hood emblem logos, some marker lights, some backup lenses. There's a door handle in here. Whew. Even a T&E tool socket. What size is it? 1/2 inch. That's a good one. Some Caterpillar gloves. Those are trash. Here's the mounting hardware for that sweet sunroof that we're not going to have. And one of the blinkers on the front. Really nice keychain. I heart my truck. GMC. This is the one that belongs to this pickup. Whatever animal got a hold of this seat was really hungry. A pretty nice door panel for the other side. Here we go to the passenger side and see what's over there. Alrighty, let's see what other goodies are on this side. So we got the armrest for the passenger side door. Small little 3/4 inch vise, still works. Needle nose pliers. Horse calendar from '09. What we got here? Ooh, Boulder Romance. Ooh, I want to get into that one. Duff missed his friend. Duff's long lost friend was in the passenger side. Ha!
Alright, well I was getting my ears lowered and getting some parts for my old man and doing a couple other things. Shouldn't got this thing cleaned up for it. Let's see what kind of goodies. He said there was some stuff in there. And by stuff I mean a lot of junk. The dumpster is now more full. But there's some good stuff too. Not really. Oh, a Columbia vise? It is a Columbia. 3.5, little baby. He said the bucket blew out. Looks like we got some Craig speakers and speaker covers. Some short water pump pulleys. A Firestone ice scraper. We did determine that it was last tagged in '05, so 20 years. We threw the springs in the spring pile and the door in the door pile. and a lot of stuff in the garbage pile. But apparently he thought the Craigs were worth keeping in that container. We gotta have a tire iron. Anyway, it's pretty good in here. It's still got carpet. The raccoon family, they unfortunately made the seat not so nice. Look at that sky blue headliner. Oh yeah, looking at the sky in my GMC. Wonder if he checked in here. And nothing. It's got a Baldwin filter. Doesn't say much. We'll just close that back up. Usually a spid plate mirror tell you the options. Looks like it had a radio. Ooh, and an equalizer. Oh no, sex lights? Oh yeah, amber ones. 4-speed, which was an upgrade over the 3-speed, which was lower than the automatic. No factory tack, but looks like they put a sun tack in it. It did have the deluxe gauge option, so it's got oil pressure. And it would have a temp gauge on the other side, but there's one below the dash. You could get like 3 gauges, which was basically just a speedometer, a fuel gauge, and dummy lights. No AC. There would have been vents over here. Let me put an AC vent in there. Oh yeah, now it's got AC. And typical all 67 to 72s, the pot metal rivet things are busted, so they put some screws in there. Is there some Winstons? Oh yeah, there is. Score. We got the keys, the right keys. Does not have a tilt column, that was also an option. The orange doors that come with it are 72 only, because those got the screw hole for the wing window, your worthless information of the day. And there's the aforementioned 3-point harnesses. That was an option, but I think these were added on later. I've never seen trim that's got that red in there. I don't know if that's factory or somebody did that. Hopefully, all the trim is back here. Anyway, first things first, let's get this thing running. Let's take a look under the hood. Also, might have to address the wipers. I don't know what's going on there. And the antenna's in pretty poor condition. Well, so is the windshield. So, 67 didn't have marker lights. All the 68, 72s had marker lights. Back window was small in 67 unless you got the panoramic view option. This is a little bit higher trim because it's got the trim, or had the trim, around the wheel wells. It's also got the stainless around the windshield and the stainless wing windows. And what's left of a fancy little pinstripe on the hood. Oh yeah, we were restoring this thing for sure. We even got some of the body filler out. Good times. So like we said before, the GMCs come with V6s, and this got a V8 in it, so somebody must have swapped this in there. We got manual brakes. We do got power steering. It's got a long water pump on it. It's got a long power steering on it. And it looks like there's a custom fabricated bracket for the alternator. Also appears as though our fan is too big for the shroud, but the good news is it doesn't reach quite into said shroud. There's 2 different engine mount locations on these pickups, like the 6-cylinder and V8, and then 4-wheel drive and 2-wheel drive, and I'm guessing they got the engine in the V6 location, which has it too far back. That's what I'm thinking. It does have an aluminum intake, so she's a hot rod. Let's see what we got underneath there. A quadrajet? Ooh, a mouse nest on a quadrajet, even better. With a I can hear the accelerator pump pumping. A little bit of mouse nest going on there. We'll just get that out of the way and pretend like it never happened. So yeah, the carburetor's free. We can't turn the engine over by hand because it's got a fan clutch on it. It's got the stock style ram horn manifolds. I'm guessing this was holding the air cleaner on, seeing as how they had the wrong stud for the carburetor. There's no more bungee left out of the bungee cord, so we'll just get rid of that. Oh, this is a treat right here. It's got the old Everlock rad cap. Check this out for the heat riser hole in the manifold. Yeah, that's right. It's got a spark plug in there. You know what we need is a manual choke and ignition cutout. We could have flame outs on this bad boy. I think you want the spark plug closer to the tailpipe, but you know, we're gonna use what we got. Which coincidentally is what that guy said when he needed to plug that hole in that manifold. Well, it doesn't have flexi hoses, but it also doesn't have any radiator hoses. So I'm guessing they just set this engine in there and never got it running by the looks of things. Fuel line's hooked up. It's pretty crude. Heater hose is not hooked up. Well, one of them is, one of them isn't. There's our temp gauge kind of cobbled in there. Maybe somebody did steal that. We do have a red ground cable. Oh, we got more bungee cords. This is the adjustable battery hold down style bungee cord. It's about a 3-knotter and a single knot. But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more.
Transmission inspection cover. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. we got a third bungee cord. It's got a little bungee left in it. That must be the fore aft restraint for the battery. This was the left-right. It's also got HEI, which was not available in 68. So where is the other battery cable? Do we not have one? Is there a starter? Yep, that's the problem. There's no starter on it. So let's get her up in the air and take a look and figure out what we need for a starter. It's probably the 3-bolt kind for manual transmissions, judging by the manual transmission and this transmission cover. Before we rip into that starter, let me show you a few things on the bottom of this 68 GMC. I cut my teeth on these 67 to 72 Chevy pickups. I've looked at a lot of them over the years. Let me show you the bad spots for them and what's good and what's bad about this 1968 GMC version. The frame horns, you want to check those out all the time. They're pickups, so they get dinged up. There's a little crack right there. And somebody put a tow hook in that hole right there and wallered that out pretty good. But on this side, they ripped it out. You don't really want to see that, but it's not structural. It'll be fine. Again, cracked from doing bumper things. The bumper braces are here. The sector is leaking a little bit, not a big deal, pretty common. 71 was the first year discs and 5 lugs, so obviously a 68's got 6 lug and drums. Everything seems pretty tight on the old steering. Here's something you always see. Well, you don't always see tinfoil in there holding the Bondo. That fender cup right there, that's where the battery sits. They always rust out underneath the battery. But yeah, the good old tinfoil repair. Just throw a little of that in there and you slap a bunch of mud on it. If you don't know what you're doing, don't restore your vehicle. And if you do know what you're doing, or even if you don't know what you're doing, don't tear it all apart into a million pieces. Just do Johnny Cash style, one piece at a time. Fix the seat, put carpet in it, put glass in it. Paint a bumper. Don't take the whole thing apart into a million pieces thinking you're gonna restore it yourself. Of course, the fender cup on this side is usually pretty good because there's no battery over here. But what's also below the battery is the inner fender, so that's rusted out, and then there's a core support under that, and that's almost always rusted out as well. But we'll see how this one looks from the top side. You can't see it with the inner fender in place. Speaking of inner fenders, you can tell that this pickup was a factory manual steering, and somebody butchered the inner fender with a torch to clear the power steering. They also did the same thing for the core support mount. Pretty common, unfortunately. Oh yeah, you also got to clearance the bumper bracket. Oh, look at this. Straight pipes? Well, maybe they had mufflers back here, but for now, we got some straight pipes. You can tell it's a fresh overhaul by the overspray on the oil filter. So on an automatic, you got these 2 bolts right here, or these 2 bolts right here. That's where your starter will bolt up. But on a manual, we gotta use these 3 bolts right here. So we need to find a manual starter, and hopefully it clears. I don't know if this bell housing is off of V6, and maybe that's where they gave up, or what's going on, but we need to find a starter. All right, back to 67 to 72 things. These cab supports, you wanna check those. These ones are solid up here. The inner rocker, they're usually pretty rotten. This one's got a few holes in it. Looks like we tub and tiled that up real good, but it isn't too bad. Rear ones, however, God, everything. We got tub and tile, we got expanding foam, we got tin foil. These guys really knew what they were doing. Oh yeah, and then they spray painted over it. The bad thing about expanding foam is it doesn't like spray paint, so it doesn't give you a very smooth finish to work with. Also, some of this stuff is extremely flammable, so don't burn the shop down. Passenger side, front cab support's got a little rot in it, but the rear passenger cab support has left the chat. A lot of guys get crazy about these things. Oh, it's unsafe. No, the support is right here and it's solid, so really all this does is holds your inner rocker and your rocker assembly. It's fine. And they make covers to put over them. They're super easy to fix. Not a big deal. What do we got? What's it gonna be? Oh yes, body filler. Moving along, most of the GMCs, leaf springs, Chevrolets, coil springs. We're gonna have to go ahead and do the old park brake delete. Doesn't even look like the pinion seal's leaking. And that U-joint seems pretty tight. Got ourselves some old Monroes back here. That is a girthy stack of leaf springs. I think this is a Dana 44, sure enough. You can tell it's a 44 by the way that it is. Tail light harness is all butchered up because it probably had a trailer harness on it. And of course, it needs a bed floor. Oh, I just noticed these exhaust mounts. Excellent usage of the mud flaps. I approve. All right, let's head to the starter stash and go ahead and grab a 3-bolt GM starter. Hopefully we can find a good one. If not, maybe we can get Mojo to rebuild one for us and jump right into that. Looky what I found in the stash. We got a Mojo Craft Fresh Reman from November of last year. before we slide that on there, check out these tires. Got the old split rims, exactly what you don't want to see. BF Goodrich Silver Towns. That's right, they're the extra miler. They are 15s though, at least. Usually the split rims are 16s and 16.5s, but these are 15s. In 6-ply rating, of course. We got a co-op multi-carrier over here in 715 LT, which is a light truck. BF Goodrich is still out there. I don't think co-op's doing tires anymore. This is a gem right here. We got the old dirt digger here. We got the co-op Country Squire 715. Dang, we need to bring back tires like the old co-op Country Squire. None of these match. We got a 700, 750, 16 over here on the right front. Maybe we put this one on there. But it's the old Mud and Snow by, who is this one by? Just Mud and Snow. We don't even want to put our name on it. Oh, there it is. It's a safe mark. And there you have it. A quick tour of our 4 mismatched tires in this hot rod. Before I go look for some hardware, let's do a test fit. Oh yeah, I think we're golden. I almost forgot the top bolt comes from the bell housing and into the starter, so I need a little bit longer bolt. There we go, even put that tin shield in there. We gotta hook up our purple wire for our solenoid. We gotta put our battery cable on. We don't need the yellow wire because that was for points for giving it a full 12 volts when you crank it over, but we got HEI, so we don't need that. So we just gotta hook up the purple one and then fish a battery cable down there. We should be good to go. These guys, I'm guessing, are for our water temp and oil pressure. Starter's bolted on. We got a new red battery cable here for the starter. We're gonna have to get our cable stretcher though, because it's gonna be taut. We'll see if it fits. If not, we'll have to find a longer one. I really like having 2 red battery cables. I love having a red ground, and this one's in pretty tough shape, so we might be looking for a new one of those. And one of the big things on these 67 to 72 Chevy pickups, usually there's a power wire that feeds the whole vehicle coming off the starter, the battery cable, that powers up the ignition switch, and that powers up the headlight switch, everything else. Not on a 67 to 72 GM pickup. There is this guy, but right here on the right hand inner fender, or inside of the regular fender, there's a junction block, and there's this wire right here. You want to have a good connection right here going to your positive battery terminal, because this powers up everything, literally everything, other than cranking the starter over. Everything goes through this wire. So you want a good wire here, you want a good clean connection right there. If you ever have issues with your 67 to 72 Chevy pickup and power issues, it's likely right there, or this wire going to there, or this wire that goes into that junction box that goes in the firewall right over there, because that can be a bad connection as well at the firewall, and you want to keep that clean, because a lot of pickups burned up because of these things. It's, I don't know, just the way they are, I guess. Also, while I was in here running this battery cable, I cleaned up the stamping pad on the front of this engine, and it is a CKL suffix. Check that out on nastyz28.com. It is a 1973 Chevrolet 350. So it is a newer motor, and it is a 350. It also says it's an option for 267 in 1975. We're just going to say that it's a 350. It's not likely a 267, but could be. The way to verify is to check the casting numbers in the back of the block, but we're saying it's a 73 350. All right, let's go find a better ground cable. Oh yeah, here is a nice black negative cable. This one's gonna be way too long, but the next one I got that's any shorter is gonna be way too short. We need to stock up on battery cables. We need a battery cable sponsor. Shortly we're gonna get to our battery sponsor. There we go. This week's battery sponsor is Chris and Nomers J. You too can be a battery sponsor at mortskerepair.com. Oh boy. Oh, it's just what I thought. That battery cable is not gonna reach. So we're gonna go ahead and lift this thing back up in the air, take this battery cable off, and see if we can't find a little bit longer one, because my cable stretcher is broken. Well, the only battery cable I could find that was long enough is a side post, so we had to go scratch up a dual post battery. So the old DT78 dual terminal is gonna work for us. I could have went and found a black battery cable that had a side post, but what fun would that be? Alright, now let's go find a side post bolt. Alright, we're even using the correct bolt instead of just a regular 3/8 bolt. Yeah, that's right. We're pretty classy around here. Got her tightened up with the old power fist. Oh, I should have hooked up a loser switch while I was down there. Well, now we got somewhere to hook this up to. We'll just lock and pliers that right to the positive post. See what happens. See if this thing cranks over. It's got a brand new Napa V-belt on it. Probably ain't even run yet. Alright, let's take one of these clamp. Well, this is an adapter. This goes from a top post to a side post. Let's go ahead and just shove that over that wire to hold her on there. I'm sure that'll be a really good connection. Let's go try the key. Well, before we crank it over, let's see if it's got oil in it. I bet it's got fresh oil, right? Well, it's black, but it's got oil in it. So much for a fresh engine. Maybe it's just low miles. Here we go. Well, sweet, the key works, it turns over. The tack works, it's hooked up, because I can see that moving between 500 and 700 RPM, so all right, let's see if we can't find a radiator hose to throw on this thing while we're at it. I dug through my stash. I got a few options here. Flexi hoses are not an option. Let's see if one of these will fit. Ooh, I think it's got the wrong thermostat neck on it. It should come off at an angle instead of shooting straight out. Let's see what we got. A 1965 GTO is too short. It might be. Oh, what's this thing? 98 4.3. It'd be long enough, but it's the wrong diameter. Son of a gun. What's this monstrosity? 86 C10. Why are these all too small? That one I think would work. The diameter on this other side was bigger. Can we make that fit? Come on. Fortunately, all these are like the same diameter. So we could do a little splicing, but I really don't want to do that. I'm sure we can't get that to stretch over it. We need our hose stretcher out. Ow. Alright. We're gonna have to go back to the drawing boards. Why wouldn't I have the right radiator hose on hand? Good grief. No such luck. I think part of the issue is because, like I said earlier about the engine mounts being set further back, I think it's set too far back. I did find the correct, or what I believe is the correct thermostat housing, so that'll just change the angle, doesn't make it any shorter. For example, this is one out of a 67 Camaro, and that's how much further the engine sits in a Camaro. Anyway, no luck, but the wind died down. It's a pretty nice night. It's, what, we got 1 or 2 days left in September. I'm gonna go take the old Roadster for a rip after I get my mitts cleaned up and enjoy some of these last few Roadster days. Get a little Roadster therapy in, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Another glorious windy day here in Nodak. It's the first day of October, so I can start drinking the pumpkin spice in my Folgers. But anyway, we got this 72, you can tell by the way the mirror is on the windshield. This one's out of whatever county Pier is in, 36. Hey, thanks for opening the hood. That one's a 71, also orange. Also has a mirror on the windshield, but it's Ford. So this has the correct thermostat housing. It doesn't have a shroud. Well, let's take a measurement. All right, this is not very scientific, but I get about 23 inches, and it's 25 on that other pickup. So like I said, this is a factory V8 pickup, and this is where the engine should be. See how much room you got back there behind the distributor? That's where a two-wheel drive V8 pickup should be. So even if I get the correct hose for a 68 GMC, it's gonna be too short. So we're gonna have to go with a flexi hose or splice one, or find a really, really long hose, and I don't have a really long hose.
I see what you did there.
So we're gonna splice one. So now you know, don't call me a cobbler for cobbling one together by splicing it, because that's what we gotta do. Because somebody didn't move the engine ahead and lengthen the drive shaft. I don't blame them though. Here's the plan, 67 to 72 Camaro upper with the wrong thermostat housing. That way we don't have to worry about screwing up the gasket. And then this mystery Delco, you guys don't care about the part number. So anyway, I'm gonna cut this one here and this one here, and then we're hopefully it's gonna be some diameter of tubing that I got laying around. Preferably exhaust tubing, but the smallest exhaust tubing I got is 1 3/4 inch. And I feel like that's gonna be smaller than that. But here we go, let's butcher up 2 perfectly good radiator hoses. Still way better than a flexi hose. Cut it twice and it's still too short. Come on now. Only problem is now, oh, this has got a wire in it. Sorry about that. As I was saying before, instead of we got 2 leak points, 1 on each end, we now have 4 leak points. 1 on each side of the splice and 1 on each end of the hose. And we also got to use twice as many hose clamps. That's going to be real nice right there though.
Really nice.
Alright, I'm going to go look for a sleeve of tubing. Here we go, look what I found, 1.5 inch outside diameter. It's an old steering column tube. I don't know what I shortened up, but I'm glad I saved it. They're just right. So we're gonna go ahead and cut it off about 4 inches long, grab a couple of hose clamps, and we'll be back in radiator hose action. Alright, here we go. Gonna need some bigger hose clamps, it looks like. Dang, we need some size 24 hose clamps. Get that on the shopping list. Because you know, if you're gonna hack a radiator hose together, at least use the right size hose clamp so it's slightly less obnoxious. And yes, I know there should be a bead rolled on the end of this hose so that it doesn't pop apart, but I'm just gonna hope that the old 73 350 here doesn't crank out too much horsepower and heat pull this sucker off. That doesn't look that bad. Alright, now let's go ahead and grab some 3/4 inch bulk heater hose and 1 more hose clamp and get this heater core hooked up just to find out that it leaks. But anyway, once we get that on, then we can throw some coolant in it and see if anything else leaks. Hopefully no heater cores or radiators or freeze plugs, water pump, any of that leaks. Ooh. Judging by the high temp orange/red silicone on there, somebody's been battling a leak already. Oh my gosh, there's a heater hose clamp on this fuel hose. Speaking of that, we should disconnect the fuel hose so that when we crank this thing over, we're not pulling any bad gas from 20 years ago out of the fuel tank, if there is any in there, or stuff that resembles gas. I'm gonna fetch up the vacuum cleaner and go ahead and suck this mouse house and all these rat turds off the top of the intake, so when we start it up, we don't get that boiling mouse turd chili lava going on. So much cleaner. Let's see how the ignition is wired up, or if it is. There's our battery wire. Goes over here. Oh! I don't know if that's the full 12 volts. So the problem with these HEI is they need 12 volts all the time, and this thing would have been points, and usually the coil has a resistor, and that way you're not getting full 12 volts all the time, so it doesn't burn your points out. But anyway, some guys will just hook that wire up to the HEI, and they don't start very well, and they don't run that great. So you want to make sure you got a wire that's got a full 12 volts there. And usually there's a spade right in the fuse box that says ignition on it, unfused. And so maybe you want to put a fuse in there. I usually don't, but I like to live life dangerously. Anyway, that's where you want to plug in and hook up to your distributor, and that ignition should have power when you're cranking the car over. You gotta watch out, because sometimes if you just hook it up to an accessory, when you turn it to crank, you don't get power there. So there's your tech tip of the day, but we're just gonna run it for now, and if we don't have spark, then we'll go ahead and dig into that. I don't know where the resistor's at on a GM. It must be in line. Anyway, we'll maybe check that later. They at least got the correct retainer clip that hooks on the side of the distributor so it doesn't fall off when you hit a bump. Don't just use a regular spade clip, because it'll hit a bump at an inopportune time. Not that there's ever an opportune time, but it'll fall off, and then you'll have to try to figure out what's wrong. 67 to 72 is the last Chevrolets that had the fuel tanks behind the seat. Ooh, it's usually not good when you see all the rust around the cap. That means the inside of the tank probably looks just like that, because why wouldn't it? Oh, it smells terrible. And it's full of varnish. Well, I don't know. It smells bad, and there's a lot of stuff at the bottom of the tank. I don't know if it's rust or if it's varnish, but judging by the smell, I don't know what rust smells like because I'm around it so much, but I'm around varnish a lot too, and that's definitely varnish fuel. Maybe we can blend it off, maybe it'll be all right. These fuel tanks are usually pretty affordable, a couple $100. They used to be like $90, but now I think the sending unit is just about $90. But anyway, I like putting new fuel tanks in, and that way you don't have to worry about being on the side of the road with plugged up fuel filters or sticky valves or a carburetor that's all gummed up. Just peace of mind. Sometimes you can pressure wash them out, and especially in a vehicle where they're super attainable like this. I like to put new ones on there. Also, I don't mind these fuel tanks behind the seats. You hear fuel sloshing around once in a while, but if you get in a side impact and it's gonna implode like in the movies, unfortunately probably dead anyway. But yeah, the safety aspect doesn't bother me. And usually if you got them sealed up, they don't stink in the cab. Everyone's like, oh, it stinks in the cab. I have had them that stunk, but usually if you replace the fuel filler neck hose or the seal on the sending unit, seals it right up. Oh, it's so bad. But I don't have a new fuel tank on hand, so I think we'll just slosh some fresh gas in there when we get to that point, and we'll just see if the fuel pump works and run it off of a auxiliary tank for the time being until we get to this. We're not going to dump some fresh gas in here until we know the engine runs. But it's a small block with an HEI and a quadrajet, so it's going to run. All right, before we go ahead and test for spark, let's put a new power cable on here. Power cable? I don't know. Let's put a new wire between our battery cable and this junction block that feeds the whole cab. I'm just going to go ahead and make up a new wire. This is only 14 gauge. I think it should be a 10 gauge or 12 gauge wire. So we're going to get a little bit larger gauge of wire, and we're going to go from this junction block right to this butt connector, this insulated butt connector that's already on here. And we should be pretty much golden. Chimney crickets. Speaking of crickets, you notice we don't have any of those this week. You know what just dropped? That nut. Good news is the core support isn't that rusty, so it didn't hit the floor. But yeah, we had some guys come spray for crickets. Hear that? It's not silence, it's the wind. No crickets. Kind of hated to get rid of them because it was like having a live audience. And no, I don't want a live audience. Just noticed the GMC emblem over here was held on by caulking, like the clear stuff like you use in your kitchen or your bathroom. This guy pulled out all the stops on this restoration. We got high temp silicone, tin foil, Bondo, expanding foam. Must have been a carpenter, or maybe the previous owner was a plumber. All the good stuff. There we go. Fresh battery cable. We're gonna have all the power now. Throw our battery sponsor back in here, and then we'll go test for some spark. Got my spark plug tester all set up where I can see it from inside the cab when I'm cranking it over. Let's see if we got some spark. Well, that is good enough for me. Let's give this thing some fuel, see if it pops off. Oh, it's pumping nasty fuel from the tank. Well, that means two things. Yes, there's fuel in the tank, and it's nasty. And two, the fuel pump's working. I can't believe it pumped that much fuel. It must have been in the diaphragm in the fuel pump, because I disconnected the line from the tank to the fuel pump. And that's crazy. Just a little dab of that stinky old petrified fuel really stinks up the whole shop. Oh well, could be worse. Let's look at the bright side. The fuel pump's working. I'm so confident that this small block Chevy's gonna run. I even hooked up the auxiliary boat tank so we can get it to run a little bit longer than we do with just the hot sauce. Let's give her a shot of the hot sauce, hook up the fuel pump, see what happens. Before I hook up that fuel pump, I'm gonna go ahead and grab a couple of sections of new hose and a fresh, clear plastic fuel filter, because this one's on its way out. Maybe some fresh hose clamps that aren't 3 times the correct diameter or super thick, and also 4 times the wrong diameter. We're doubling up on the protection here. There's an inlet filter on the old quadrajet, or there should be anyway. But I like these clear ones because you can see what's going on, if you're getting fuel or not, and if the fuel looks absolutely horrendous, or if it's nice and clean, which is what we're hoping for. But it's probably not going to happen with all that varnish in the tank. Even got some fresh used correct size hose clamps that are stripped out. Why is it so hard to get good parts these days? Hose clamps are no good. Fuel filters fall apart. Sending units go bad after the first tank of fuel. Fuel pumps leak right out of the box. You just can't win. We need to bring back the old American pride and products that we make. Better yet, we need to start making some products here and paying the price for them. I'm gonna go find another hose clamp and I'm gonna dispose of this one properly. Let's hook up our clickety-clack, see if we get some fuel up to our new filter. Let's try. Oh, there we go. Getting a little fuel in there. Ooh, a little varnish. Bubbles. Oh, we got a leak? Of course we do. Right at the fuel pump, because there's some silly adapter fitting. Alright, let's address that. So there's our fuel line. You can see the drip we got going on there, but that fuel line should thread directly into the fuel pump. So they got that adapter in there because they got the wrong size fuel line. Let's go ahead and pull that all apart. I'm guessing they got the wrong adapter in there. It's probably like a pipe thread instead of an inverted flare, but we're gonna find out. At least they didn't kink the line off. I mean, they tried, but they didn't quite succeed. Or fail. Oh, it definitely was not leaking because it was loose. Can't wait to see a pipe thread fitting hooked up to an inverted flare. At least the fuel is slightly less stinky now, you know, when you blend it off with some fresh stuff. That really helps out. Yeah, they were definitely trying to get rid of this leak by over-tightening everything. I've never had to put a wrench on the fitting that's molded into the fuel pump to keep it from squishing the bottom of the fuel pump, but that's what we're gonna have to do here. Oh! Oh, we didn't need that chunk of skin anyway. Looks like they had the correct fitting. Inverted flare female, inverted flare male. Maybe there's a defect in it. Or maybe it's a bad flare, it doesn't look bad. However, it's got a kink. And if we get the right size line, it'll have the right bends in it. Then we won't have to have a set adapter fittings, so let's do that. On this bad boy in my stash, that's a factory line that somebody already cut off, and that is a 3/8 line instead of 5/16, so it'll fit our hose better, and also we won't need an adapter kit. Most importantly, hopefully it doesn't leak. Oh, look at how glorious that steel fuel line follows up the head and over the intake. And then we make a big sweeping cooling loop going into the carburetor. Anyway, that line should be nice and clean, but I kind of like having that clear filter in there, and I refuse to cut that nice, glorious, bent up fuel line down, so we got to put that loop in there. And if I had a new fuel tank in it, I would not need that filter, and we could just clean it up a bit, but I don't have a new fuel tank. Well, let's hook up the electric fuel pump and see if we get any fuel leaks now. Hopefully they're fixed. Well, I don't see any leaks, and we got fuel in the filter here. Oh, well, we got her leaking out the carburetor. Usually that means we got to adjust the needle and seat of the float. Looks like we fixed it. We shouldn't need any hot sauce. Oh yeah, you can hear it squirting. She's a squirting. All right, slingshot engage. Idle's a little high, but it's idling. Look at that, we've got a tack. Idling about 1100, that's about 300 more than I want. But look at that oil pressure. Just about pegged. Let's see if it'll come off the high idle. I think we got some vacuum leaks to fix. There's nothing hooked up there. I think that one's just the bowl venter for your PCV. Nope, that's the PCV. That one's good. But we got vacuum ports there, and I think that one needs to go to our vacuum advance. Right about there. So I'm gonna get some plugs and address those. Also, it sounds like the old clutch fan or something's oh, that's what's rattling. Sweet baby Jesus, that is a big stack of washers. You can see the entire alternator flex as I push on the belt. Yeah, we might want to find the right bracket. You don't want a 6-inch 3/8 bolt holding the entire weight of your alternator and the tension of the belt. That's gonna fit. Is that a socket or is that a chrome spacer? No, no. Looks like I can read 5/8 on there. Hopefully it's a USA made one. All right, let's see if we can find the correct grommet and plug for this valve cover instead of this super fancy reflective orange tape. Oh yeah, chrome it up. When in doubt, chrome it out. Vacuum tubing, go from our vacuum advance canister. That is no doubt dried up. Run her up here to the carburetor. This bad boy's got electric choke on it, and it might even be hooked up. Plug a couple other vacuum ports that are no longer needed. Where's that other one? There we go. We need one more for this big boy. There we go. Now let's try it, see if we got any vacuum leaks. What else did we forget? Ooh, for the power brakes, is that plugged back here? Sure feels like it. That one will get you. Let's take a peek at our throttle. Let's take a peek at our idle screw. It's not hitting it. Why is that? Is it because our choke is closed? Well, that looks better. It's screwed in plenty far, so we'll see what happens. Definitely not any better. We got a giant vacuum leak somewhere. The question is, where? We got the wrong gasket onto there, the wrong intake manifold. Why did it pick up? It wasn't idling too bad before. We got a vacuum line going back here to this diaphragm for the choke pull off that was rotted off. We'll go ahead and replace that, but that seems like a pretty small vacuum leak. And the noise we got seems like it's a pretty big one, like it's the base gasket. Got that plugged. There's one vent on the back of the carburetor here. A little bit bigger one. I think it's just a vent, but we'll plug it anyway. There we go. Man, I don't know what to do here. I guess I'll try it one more time, see what happens. And after that, probably enough to pull a carburetor. Dang it, that is loud. Where is the vacuum leak? Alright, I'm not sure what's going on here. Maybe this is a square bore intake and we got a spread bore on it. Maybe we need an adapter. I don't know why it was idling before and now it won't. But anyway, let's do a little messing around. Let's pull this carburetor off. Let's see what we got. Ooh, copper wire holding the throttle linkage. Very nice. Oh, very nice. 5/16 bolt with a 3/8 nut for a shim. What kind of mess we got going on behind this electrical tape? Oh, we just wrapped the wire around that spade. I mean, I'm not mad. In fact, I'm impressed.
Actually, I'm not even mad. That's amazing.
Oh, that's glorious. Did they even tie a knot in there? Oh, this guy was a carpenter, an electrician, and a plumber. Oh, we got a stack of washers on this one instead of just a 3/8 nut. Whatever this guy was, he was not a mechanic. Well, I don't see any issues there. So, it is a spread bore intake. It's got a spread bore gasket installed the correct way. You know, don't install them that way. They do have this T-fitting back here that's plugged off, but they don't need that. Would usually go to your transmission for your vacuum modulator, so we can get rid of that. Just put a plug in there. That'll be, well, one 2, 3 less leak points. I don't know what's going on here. We got a giant vacuum leak, it sure seems like. Everything looks good on the bottom of this thing. Our idle mixture screws are still in there, so maybe they're screwed all the way in or all the way out, but I doubt it. I don't see anything busted on the base. The gasket mating surface looks good. Not sure what they call those things, but looks like the glue's letting loose in there. I'll have to ask Chin, our quadrijet expert. It does look like there's a plug in the back here for the power brakes, but I don't see any tape, so maybe we'll tape that up. Could be leaking by there, but it seems like it's got a horrendous vacuum leak. All right, I figured it out. Remember how I was vacuuming the top of this thing off? Well, we just flicked it closed, and there was a big old crunchy inside the throttle blade. So that was the problem. But this gasket's been installed 2 different directions, so we'll throw a new one of those on there. And we'll also put a pipe plug instead of that T. Dang, this intake looks like it was brand new when they put it on there. Oh no. Whew, it's just mouse foam. I thought there was some tub and tile holding the distributor in too. Fittings like this are the bane of my existence. Use the right, oh, it wasn't even tight. Use the right fittings. Cripes, just put a plug in there. I didn't have a plug. Well, go to the freaking hardware store and buy a pipe plug. Problem with these is you got these rubber plugs. After a while, because they're rubber, they rot out. And then you get a vacuum leak. Or they get hot and then they leak. Or they leak around the threads of your 1/4-inch bolt. So get the right pipe plug. And then, for heaven's sake, put some pipe dope on there so it doesn't leak. Here we go, 1 3/8 pipe plug, all doped up, ready to go. I don't like that. Is that the cheap plug? It don't want to seat. Look at the pipe plug is they're tapered. Maybe my Amazon Chinese pipe plugs don't have enough taper to them. We'll go grab another one. All right, grabbed a different plug. Instead of 2 wraps, we gave her 3 of the old blue monster. Maybe this Edelbrock intake threads aren't a spec. Who knows? That's way better. That'll seal. Get the excess blue monster out of there, you know? Keep it classy. Since we determined it was not the gasket, we're going to save a buck and reuse that. And we're going to quickly overhaul this quadrijet. Good as new. Heck, I might get crazy and even go fetch up the right length 5/16 bolts to hold it down. There we go, the correct length hardware for the quadrijet rear bolts. It's okay, I didn't want that anyway. Now let's see if it revs the moon on its own.
Belt sounds angry.
We're getting a lot of what I think is belt squeal, so we're gonna go ahead and unhook the alternator and see if that's what's causing the squeal. But either way, we gotta relocate the alternator to the other side of the engine because that's usually where they're at on a long water pump. And I've got brackets for that, and this mishmash of terribleness, stacks of washers and fabric cobbled bracketry is not working out, and I think that's causing our squealing. So let's just go ahead and move it over. So the way this alternator would be set up in the factory, this bracket right here is stock, but it should bolt to right up there. And you see they had to put a bend in it to make it work and bolted the intake manifold. And then they got that stack of washers that's holding it to the manifold, and then there should be a bracket that goes on the manifold that holds it there so that that bolt is in double shear, not single shear. You can see it's kind of running at an angle right now. We will have to extend the wires out. Fortunately, it's not even wired in place. This is for an externally mounted regulator, which would be somewhere in there. Oh, there it is down there, hidden behind the horns. But we can put an internally regulated one over there while we're at it, and that'll free that up. And these are the brackets we need. Yeah, it's the same as a 4.3 liter. Bolts to the water pump, and then the top of the intake there. And we got a new spot for our ground cable because we need to use these 2 bolts down here on the water pump, and then we go into that bolt hole in the head, which this pickup wouldn't have had originally because the accessory holes didn't come until later. And this bad boy bolts to the water pump. That big old bolt goes through the alternator. This spacer goes on the back side. You want to get crazy and put that bolt into the alternator, and then that goes into the head. Bada bing, bada boom. I get so much noise back there. No goes work on the 56. Put an electric fuel pump on it so that thing's backing up. Alright, let's get this terrible alternator mess off and get it fixed up right. Disconnect your battery before you take this power wire off because this thing's live all the time. Nice part about moving over there is we can just run this wire from the alternator straight to that junction block over there on the inner fender that we just made a new wire for. Maybe we'll get lucky and be able to use the same belt. That nice new Napa belt that I mentioned earlier. Oh, look at that amazingness. One washer fell, plus a lock washer, plus 2, 4, 6, 7. So carry the 9 washers. Ooh, it's not just any bolt. It's a starter bolt. Nothing but the finest. And we got a chrome socket here, 5/8, half-inch drive, 6-point Taiwan special. What a deal. That's some quality stuff. At least we gained a starter bolt out of the deal. And I think, because this is a 2-pronger, this is an externally regulated alternator. There's that threaded 5/16 hole in the back where you can bolt up that spacer. Perfect, we'll put this on the other side. We don't need to go find an internally regulated version. I believe the internally regulated version has the plug on the back side, and these ones got it on the top side. I don't want to be flying on fenders when I'm 78 years old. I'll probably be flying on that thing at 48 years old. Alright, let's put this spacer on there. Drop our bolt in there to make sure it lines up. Snug that up. Woo! And we'll go ahead and put this bracket on there. And this bracket. Pretty sure this is all just real short 3/8 hardware. Alright, the moment of truth. Let's see if our belt is the right length. Looks way too long. Alright, back to the drawing boards. Let's see if the belt that's called out for a 75 Chevy 350 is the correct length. Oh yeah. There we go, baby. The old 15 440 is gonna do her. Now let's see if we can strip those aluminum threads out in that alternator. Just kidding, they already were. Dang it. Now that is the problem with these GM alternators, or any alternator, or any piece of hardware that goes into aluminum. Guess we'll just put a longer bolt in with a nut on the backside. Oh yeah, that's way better. We don't have this giant span in there for that belt to go dancing around either. We just need to wire it up. Let's test it out first though and see if we fixed our squeal. We're gonna need a new negative cable, so this would be an opportune time to go ahead and switch it to side post. The moment of truth. Will it reach? Ah, yes. Also, don't over tighten this bolt right here, because people like to pull the threads out of these brackets too. Now we're ready to test the old alternator bracketry out. No more belt squeal, and hopefully we eliminated the option of the alternator just snapping a 3/8 bolt off and laying on the side of the road and losing the fan in the process and overheating and not charging and everything else. So yeah, do a little research, folks, if you're playing around with brackets. Small block Chevys are pretty easy, actually. There's not a lot of options, way less than with other manufacturers. They use the same stuff basically on all the short water pump and all the long water pump stuff. Until you get into the serpentine stuff and the V-belts they just kind of kept on their own. There's a few different options, and then obviously there's power steering and then AC. When you get into that stuff, that's complicates it. But when it's just power steering alternators, pretty easy. All right, let's wrap up the whole carburetor throttle situation. So the way they had it was they had this throttle linkage that went through this way too big a hole in the carburetor. There used to be a stud right here where a cable for the throttle cable would have hooked, but now we've got a rod. 71 they went to a cable, and this is 68 obviously. So I'm gonna go ahead and smooth this out a little bit with the grinder, and then we're gonna center mark it, and then we're gonna drill it to the correct diameter, and we're gonna put that in there. And then because of the length of this, I think we're gonna either have to put some washers on there to shim it out, or maybe we get crazy and re-drill that hole for the cotter key, or else maybe we could find another throttle linkage that has the correct length or distance, good grief, turn, between that mating surface and that hole, because there's just too much play in there. I think originally there was supposed to be like a rubber bushing in there, and that took up all that area, but we don't have that. Also, why is that washer right there? So let's get a hole drilled. You guys know I'm not a fan of the stack of washers, but it's better than it was. If I were to keep this pickup, which I'm not, price and availability will be in the video description, I would drill a hole closer over here so you didn't have to have those washers and get rid of that washer on there. But I'm lazy today, so there we go. Good enough. Way better than it was. Also, find that 90-degree PCV, positive crankcase ventilation valve, so that you don't have this big loop-de in there. It'll be fine. Seems like it runs good enough. It's a manual, so the transmission should work, provided we got a clutch. But let's go ahead and rip into the brakes. Let's open the master cylinder, see if we even got a fighting chance of saving what brakes are there. If we got to find some new wheel cylinders, a master cylinder, and all that. What are the odds we get lucky and there's fluid in here? Not very good. Oh boy, the front one's full. Let's top off that back one. See what the pedal feels like. Oh yeah, back one's real empty. Front one's full. Usually that's the back brakes. Crap. Well, at least it's a dual reservoir, which was government mandated in 1967. Let's push a brake pedal and see what happens. Please don't be frozen. Well, it's not frozen, but it don't feel very firm. Great. Obviously that brake fluid had to go somewhere, so let's get her lifted up in the air and let's start with the front brakes. I think I got some 67 to 72 brake parts, mainly hoses and wheel cylinders. Hopefully they're the same as what I got on the shelf, and GMCs aren't different from a Chevrolet, but let's go ahead and find out. Alright, how bad is it going to look in there? Oh, frick. These things look like brand new. We're going to throw some new hoses on there. Put these bad boys back on there. You know why I want to throw these back on there? Not because I'm frugal, not because I'm cheap. Because cast in there, where did I see that? Well, it says Wagner, and I'm pretty sure, yep, right there. It says USA. A little grime in that one. We'll clean that out. Throw it back together. We are going to throw a new hose on it though. Everything else looks pretty good in here. The old shoes are getting pretty thin, but I don't have any of those. And the hub's a little grooved up, so the next person, I would highly recommend ordering some shoes and turning the old drums. Also, cleaning up the adjusters and lubricating them, but you're going to have to do that when you put the new shoes on. All right, brakes went really well. Until they didn't, but minor details. The right rear brake line decided to twist off, and the wheel cylinder looked super cruddy on this one, so stuck a new wheel cylinder over here. And of course, the brake hoses that I have are for coil spring pickups, and they're different from leaf springs, so we're just gonna run that guy for now. Doesn't look like in too bad a shape, but again, it needs some brake shoes and I'd probably put one of those on there. Yeah, let's go ahead and put some more fluid in there, crack some bleeders, cleaned all those up. Tech tip of the day, clean up your bleeders while you're working on it before you bleed the brakes, and let's see if we can't get some brake pressure. Next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna address this exhaust. It's kind of kinked off here, so I think that's a good spot to cut it off, and then maybe try to make a Y pipe, and then we'll expand it in some bigger pipe and put a muffler on it. Because it's too loud, and if it's too loud, you're too old. I guess I'm too old. The other reason is that's 2-inch exhaust, and I only got 2 1/4 and 2.5-inch mufflers. And plus, I only burn up one of those mufflers if we put it into a single. So let's get the old bend pack bender out, and the Sawzall, and the welder, and see if this old gas that's dripping all over the ground is gonna light on fire. Should be fun. We got to start, got some 2-inch pipe, expanded it, slide over that, put a 30-degree bend in it. Now we just got to tie these two together and convert that to 2 1/4 or 2.5. Put our muffler back here. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Dang, that was exhausting. I think I did a pretty respectable job on the old Y pipe. A couple of 2s going into a 2.5 that's expanded into a welded glass pack. Those are made in North Dakota. We got ourselves, I think they call them a Texas hanger. Anyway, we got a hanger here. I like these ones where you just weld them on. Can't take it apart. Well, you can unbolt it up there, but those two are kind of married together now. It's all finished out with a little turn down at the rear end. Not my favorite, but I'm lazy and didn't want to bend up a tailpipe, so should be way quieter anyway. Well, we got it up in the air. We know the oil hasn't been changed in 20 years, so let's go ahead and drop that and get some fresh oil in this small block Chevy. Oh boy, that Napa Gold filter, she's been on there a couple of days. How much precipitation are we gonna find in here? Not bad. No chunks. Doesn't look all shiny, so that's a plus. That is an old Napa Gold filter. They tried painting it up to look like a Fram. I heard Fram is no more. That is unfortunate. And we're going with a fresh Baldwin B6 to replace the old Napa Gold. Got our topped out with oil. Let's go ahead and top it out with some coolant. A little of the green, a little of the yellow. It likes it all. It's better than air. We got to do something about these wheels and tires. Those tires are terrible. The split rims are terrible. And yeah, we could put hubcaps on them. Steely's hubcaps and look all right. But what does everybody love on these pickups? White letters. I'm not too lazy to clean the blue off, so we'll probably just put that on the inside. We'll put it on the outside. What the heck? So I got some 2 5560s for the rear, slightly used. And we got some 2 3560 Sprint GTs for the fronts. Who knows how old those are? We just got to take them off the old saw blades. They came on the 68 Cornet RT that will be on the channel someday. And then we got some 6-lug rallies, 15x8s. And you can't have rallies without beauty rings and caps, so I got a full set of those. I only got one rear 4-wheel drive cap because these are off of 4-wheel drives, so bear with us. We're not going to have centers in them unless we make something out of duct tape. But anyway, I'm going to get those mounted up so we can throw those on there, and then we should be able to take it for a test drive. Wish I had some nice flange bolt stainless hardware to hold these center caps on, but I also wish that I had the correct center caps with the insert, but I only got one. We got some fresh valve stems and the beauty rings. And some fresh 7/16 chrome lug nuts from Lug Nuts guys. Go check them out. Oh yeah, it's gonna be way better. Would have been even better if I'd cleaned up that wheel and tire. Comment down below if these wheels came factory on 67 to 72s. I think they were only on 73 to 87s. Maybe you could get a 71 or 2 with 5-lug rallies. I don't know. We should look into that. Channel look into it and let us know. Alright, there we go. Way good. Even with the white letters out. Alright, this little rubber hose right here goes between the fuel tank and the cab. And the fuel line that runs up the fuel rail. And we're gonna replace it because it's old and it's rubber. And this thing's been leaking nasty gas since we brought it in here. So let's go ahead and try to get the rest of that varnish gas out of here. The shop's been a pleasant smelling atmosphere all week. You know it's good stuff when it comes out calling a Folgers coffee. We should probably blow that line out too. Got some fresh fuel hoses on there. Shin's putting the bed on. Apparently they decided to take the bolts out of that. They topped off the transmission and the Dana 44, so those are good to go. Now we're gonna pump some petrol in it, see if we can't get it to pull fuel. There was some slime in this tube right there, so took that apart, blew it apart. There's a rubber hose inside the cab, put that in there. And yes, I'm out of the correct size hose clamps, so we got two longer ones on there, which is exactly what I hate doing. Oh, they're meth mud flaps. They're gonna catch all the rubber. Duff says, get that door swapped out. Looks like it's only held in by 3 bolts, so. Oh, this is a couple weeks in a row we've been swapping doors.
Yeah. Big door swap, guys.
3 bolts is 3 times more than was holding on that.
Oh yeah, that
chair out. Oh, you Hercules. Okay. Take a breather. Up and down. Kick the bottom in. So shut up.
nailed it.
We knew what we were doing. Way more gooder. Oh man, she looks way better with a door that semi-matches. This door is not great, but I mean, I've seen a lot worse. This is pretty typical of the door handles. And then the door handles are pretty affordable on these pickups. LMC, you can get all this stuff pretty reasonable. I do have all the marker lights. Maybe we can round up some screws. I only got 1 reverse light and no tail lights and 1 park light. If this pickup were mine, I would hit up LMC and get a new tailgate, and I'd get all those marker lights because they look good just being bright. I don't know, maybe I wouldn't, but I'd get some new door handles and just a bunch of little trinkets, you know, get some seat foam and a seat, you know, spend a few bucks there and really get this thing dialed in. Maybe get some center caps for the wheels. They do also have headlights around, I'm sure you can get a lot of that stuff. This thing, it's coming together. Unfortunately, we're missing a fair amount of trim. We got 1 wheel arch, so we're missing one of those. And then we got, I'm guessing one of these is for the door, one's for the front of the bed, one's for the back of the bed. So that might be all there. I think these are for the back of the cab or maybe the front of the fender. We got 1 armrest, we got the door panel for the door on the other side. Screwdriver, looks like a propane valve. This is the trim for around the headlights on the front fenders. What do we got? Oh, a little Kenny G duo tones. Got a door handle for, which side is this? The passenger side. The GMC emblem is busted there. This one's good. Still got the V6 on there. And we got the hood, GMC emblems. I think it's all there. Oh, there's the G for the, that's where the tub and tile was. You got the G for that. And we got a bunch of trinkets in here, odds and ends. I'm not going to go through putting that stuff on there because it's not all there, and it will just look silly being half complete, in my opinion. I don't think we have that piece for either side, unfortunately. What do you guys think on the mud flaps? Yes or no? It really gives it that South Dakota farm truck look. But if we lower it, we're going to be touching the ground. That's the other thing I'd love to flip the axle on this thing, cut a couple coils in the front, get her down on the ground. This is going to be pretty good, but I'm not going to because we're about out of time. Let's fire this thing up, see how the exhaust sounds, take it for a test drive. And hopefully our fuel system picks up fuel. If not, we're going to be in trouble.
Not bad for single exhaust and a glass back. Woo, power steering even works. Never expect the fluid. Oh yeah. Brakes? Hey. Kinda. Oh. I think we're ready to take this thing for a rip. This is a pretty decent pickup.
Oh, if only it was like 8 inches lower.
Hopefully whoever buys this thing drops it right on its belly.
Oh, small block Chevy sounds pretty good. Oh, I might want to loop those hood hinges. I don't know why they started body working it over there. It's needed it over here. Flat hoods, way cooler. All right, I don't know where my sidekick went, but we'll make a lap around the yard, see if we can find him. I can't believe how good this thing starts. Horn? Nope. Shoot. Oh, there he is. Hanging out underneath the cab over. What up? Woo! Oh, we should have checked see if it had a posi in it. The old granny low in the 4-speed, gotta love it. I think it's a SM420. Oh, she shifts good. I love these tri-spoke steering wheels on these pickups. I cannot believe how good this engine runs. It's just a testament to the old Quadrabog and the HEI. You can't go wrong. Right, Duff? All right, here's the deal. Price and availability in the video description. Hit us up, mortskerepair@gmail.com. I got a clear title on this pickup. The speedometer works. The tach says like 3,500 RPM, so I think the tach is programmed for like a 6-cylinder. Oil pressure works. Temp gauge is coming up. No fuel gauge. I'm thinking 2,500 bucks for this thing. It needs a lot of things. The seats, the tailgate, a windshield, all the lighting stuff. You gotta hook up the charging system. But I think that is a lot of pickup for 2,500 bucks. And I am not getting anything for my time. It's got fresh exhaust. I would go through the brakes and new tires on it, give it a tune-up. But this thing runs good. It's got a fresh oil change. It's got power steering. It's got 3-point seat belts that rattle in the wind. I think this is a pretty dang good pickup for the price. Temp is creeping up to 200 according to that. Who knows? Maybe it's got an overheating issue. It sounds good though. A lot of crap blowing around in here. It just needs a little tender loving care. It needs put back together. It needs a few little odds and ends. But I think a couple of weekends just fiddling around and messing around with the electrical, getting all the lights working and putting the trinkets, you know, the tailgate on it and the trim, finding all that stuff, you'd have yourself a pretty good little pickup. Unfortunately, since they sanded it, started doing some body work, you might have to paint it, or you could just rock it as is, which is completely acceptable in my world. I would space that fan out, get it into the fan shroud. I wouldn't go through the effort of moving the engine ahead. I wonder how that works, because the transmission has to sit. That's where the engine's got to be. It is what it is. You know, get a radiator hose off of Monte Carlo. They're like a mile long. And get rid of that ugly splice one that I got. Just cruises down the road 55 mile an hour on some old nasty radial tires that haven't been balanced. It steers straight, it doesn't pull. The power steering works phenomenal. So yeah, this would be a good way to get into the hobby. There's so many parts available for 67 to 72 Chevy pickups. You know, get a cup for that fender, put some cab corners in it, put a little patch in this door. Like I said, find a tailgate. I hate when people make benches. It'd be really cool to find, which pulls a little left when you stomp on the brakes. Oh, it's got a topper. Dang, it does pull left pretty hard. Well, they're not Minnesotans. He looks like he would be from Minnesota. I think with a little bit of work, you could make this thing a daily driver and then just pick away at it. And that is how you fix a car up. Pick away at it. Get the radio working, get the wipers working, put a windshield in it, get all the lights working. Don't just blow the thing apart like this guy did and think you're gonna just do it all. The only way to blow it all apart like that is if you've done a bunch of them and know what you're doing, or if you're dropping it off at a place that you're paying a bunch of money to do it. Because like, just taking it all apart like this, I don't know. What do I know about fixing up cars? I don't fix up cars. I fix other people's mistakes, or I make their mistakes worse, I guess. But if you got a project in your garage and it's sitting there stalled, just pick away at it. One little thing at a time. Go out there every night, you know, clean up the mirror, you know, lube the door latches, you know, get the lights working. Just one piece at a time. And that's how I would proceed with, you know, restoring something, you know, like fix a dent here. Put the door panel back on. Put trim in the window. Don't just blow it all apart, because unfortunately I buy a lot of vehicles, and there is tons of them on Marketplace right now. Go search project vehicle on Marketplace right now where you're at, and I guarantee there's just a pile of 68 to 74 Novas and 64 to 70 Mustangs and 68 to 74 Mopar B-bodies that people have just absolutely blown apart and then got it over their head. And they're like, all the hard work is done and all the pieces are there. I'm sure this guy told Chin when he went and picked it up that all the pieces were there. Well, no, as a matter of fact, they were not. The lenses are all missing. He didn't say the tailgate was gone. He said nothing about the starter being missing. The radiator hose obviously was clearly visible. Speaking of that, she's just running right at 200. It's happy. A bunch of trim missing around the headlights, you know, that goes over the wheel. That's missing. Stuff like that. There again, you can pick up something like this that's in a million pieces that somebody else screwed up pretty dang cheap. But you gotta know how to fix all that stuff, or how it all goes together, I should say. Because, you know, if you were to give me a British car, like an MG, in a million pieces, I would have no idea how to put it together. The brakes on this thing are terrible, Duff says. So yeah, fix the brakes, whoever buys this thing. 2,500 bucks. Runs great. Shifts even better. Stops terribly. Exhaust is good though. Chin said I'm getting pretty good at exhaust. So, pat on the back to me. It's my second Y pipe I've made. I do like the old glass packs that are made by National Muffler in Fargo. Check them out. Anyway, yeah, this thing's pretty good. The seat isn't even that terrible. You could probably Go to your local foam store and refoam the base and make it decent. There again, I bet you could get foam from LMC that probably doesn't fit that great, but you can fix this seat up real good. Because you gotta have a good seat. You gotta have respectable interior. They're getting 88 to 94 Chevy bench seat. They're getting harder to find all the time, but I think they fit in these pickups pretty well. Yeah, we put one in Mickelson's pickup. I think it almost bolted right in. Those are good seats. They wear well, and you can pick up a whole seat for 250 bucks or less in the color you want. A blue one would fit real good in this pickup. Hit us up, mortskerepair@gmail.com if you want to own this thing. I think it's a dang good. The fuel gauge is creeping up the quarter tank. Maybe that is working. Yeah, you could get away with not even having to do a tune-up or messing with the carburetor if you bought this thing. Definitely plan on putting brakes in it. Thank goodness it's a 4-speed and it's got a good clutch, so we can slow down that way. We got any pep, Duff? Oh yeah. Not much for speed shift in the old SM420, but these things are tough. I would love, I was thinking of this when I was checking the fluid, I'd love to get an SM420 and put a, you know, a pretty healthy 5.3 or a 6.0, you know, a little bit of a cam and a tune, and just see how hard we can beat on an SM420 before we can break it. The thing is, they're clunky truck transmissions, so they're like not much fun to speed shift, but they're almost free, and like I said, they're pretty indestructible as long as you can keep oil in them, or you got oil in them. But the only problem is, then you got a clunky 4-speed with no overdrive. I'm an overdrive guy, especially with an LS. You got fuel injection, an ECU, put an overdrive behind it. Dang, postal carrier. We're rocking the Lincoln, like a 03 to 12. Is it a Continental town car? High rollers. The USPS must pay the rural delivery folks well around here. This thing is, it's so good. Just cruises down the road. I'm guessing based on the feel of the pants, it's got the 308 gears, but who knows? It might be 373s. Oh, it could be 355s. That LS swap 67 GMC we have. If you haven't, go check that video out. Seems like that thing might have had 354, 355s in the old Dana 44. Again, Dana 44 rear end, pretty solid. You can get all kinds of gears and fancy posies and whatnot for that. So, you got options. Oh, now it pulls right when you stab the brakes. Oh, that is the beauty of the SM420. Max speed of 4.2 miles an hour in reverse. Sitting and idling for 5 minutes, didn't even creep up. All right, those guys are about ready to finish up with the old bean harvest, so we'll have to catch up and get a sandwich with Bob and Adam after that. Yeah, we've just been sitting there idling, and it's sitting right at 200, so I think this gauge is a little bit off, because I don't think it's 200, but even if it is, 200 seems fine. It's not pinging like it's hot, so I think we're all right. Yeah, somebody, we got all kinds of oil pressure. Somebody is getting a really good pickup, in my opinion. There's a lot of crappy pickups out there that don't run and are absolute basket cases for 2,500 bucks. Like I said, this pickup I would not drive home. You're gonna need to get some lights and stuff working, but I think in a good Saturday you could get it road legal, and then pick away on the stuff as you go, you know, get the charging system working. Ooh, speaking of that, we've been running on battery power here for a good half hour. We might want to address that. But yeah, it's even got carpet in it. It's a little worn out by my heel. It looks like it's an aftermarket carpet, but you used to be able to get carpet for $100 in LMC. It's probably $200 by now. You might have saved yourself $200 on the fuel tank, but you're probably going to need a $60 sending unit. But there again, it's just below quarter tank now, so maybe it is working. She's got a functional tack semi. I mean, it does tack things. It's just off. It's got a speedo. This thing is real nice. Ah, and that exhaust. Marv's muffler, pretty hard to beat. Dang, downshifting the old glass bag doesn't even cackle. I like it. Unless you're into the cackling. Still sitting right at 200. Loves it. We'll see if she diesels when we shut her off. Not a diesel. Cool as a cucumber, Duff. All right, there you have it, boys and girls. We got a 1968 GMC back on the road for the first time in 20 years. It actually didn't take a whole lot to get it going. Threw starter on it, radiator hose, fixed the terrible alternator bracketry the previous owner had. Did a little exhaust work, put a little trim back on it. Yeah, this pickup has come a long ways in the week that we spent piddling around on it. It's got a ways to go, but I think this will make somebody a great project. Again, $2,500. Hit us up, mortskerepair@gmail.com. Bring some cash and a trailer and take this thing home and have yourself a good start to a great project. So thank you very much for watching. Go check out the merch, mortske.com. That is a super good way to support us. Tell you what, we got 2 license plates off of this thing. They're in pretty rough shape, but I will autograph them and I will throw them in with a couple of orders this week. So head on over to mortske.com and maybe get a chance to get an autographed 2005 North Dakota license plate. We got fresh bobbleheads in. We are stocked up on the super scrapers. We got fender covers if you got 68 GMC that's all painted up. We got banners. We got some really cool posters with showing all the cars that we got 1 million views on. We got t-shirts. We got beanies for the upcoming cold season. I know I don't want to talk about it, but we got sweatshirts for this winter, and we got flannels. We got, you name it. We got. If we don't got it, you don't need it. And of course, we got decals and magnetic can koozies and screwdrivers as well. So head over to mortske.com. Great way to support us, but just watching this video is great for the channel. Go hit that like button if you don't mind it. And if you want to support us even more, come buy this thing so it gets out of my yard and you can enjoy it, because it's a pretty good pickup for the price, I think. What do I know? I don't know much about buying cars or values. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Remember, it doesn't matter how you get it done, so long as you are having fun. 67 to 72 Chevrolets and GMCs is what I cut my teeth on, and they've always been fun. All right, on to the next one, Duff. We got work to do this weekend. Ugh, it never ends around here.
gonna keep on dancing at the Pink Pony Club.